Welcome to the session where we are going to talk about the record of victory. Do you ever feel like you're not making progress? Do you ever feel like you're not where you want to be? Do you ever feel like you're behind in your business, in your life? If so, you need to know that you're not alone. This is a common phenomena that happens particularly among business owners and leaders because we are in the business of becoming better people and better leaders and making our businesses better. And in that business of doing that, we see the gaps, we see the things that need improving. And that's what probably got us into business in the first place, into being an entrepreneur. And therefore that's kind of our superpower in a way. But whilst it being useful in some cases, what got you here won't get you there. I'm going to say that a lot because what got you here was seeing all of the gaps and being excited about fixing them. But you probably became really good at seeing all the gaps. And now that invokes a different feeling within your body, in your mind. It invokes a feeling of overwhelm, of frustration, of being behind, of, yeah, probably frustration. For me, that's what it would be and has been in the past. And why is that important? Well, how we think creates how we feel, which comes from our identity in the first place. And how we feel, well, what do I do when I feel frustrated? Am I doing anything that is actually constructive? Probably not. Am I doing anything that's moving my business forward? Probably not. When you actually look at it, probably not. Now, what got you here was some of those feelings, because the feeling and fear is the other one. You know, you might be being driven by fear, and that got you to where you are. And so you think that's going to get you to the next level, but I can tell you it's not. And if you're stalling, if you're not making the progress you want, then the evidence is right in front of you. So the first remedy for this is to understand and identify what's going well and create what I call a record of victory. And so you can very simply start making a list of the things that have gone really well. So you're looking at this every 90 days, but you're also going to look at it weekly. So wins, gains, moments of gratitude from the last 90 days. A king acknowledges his progress because acknowledgement, that word acknowledgement, is very, very important, very kingly, very much a leader trait, to acknowledge yourself, to acknowledge others, to acknowledge the things that are going well. And you lock it into your nervous system as you do that. And you're building a body of evidence in your mind, in the nervous system, in the mind of others, for the positive and the positive declarations that you're going to create about who you are in the next part of this task. And if you've done this task already, then you're going to update them or just reinforce who you are. So most people have maybe heard of this exercise before, where they gratitude journal or whatever. But what a lot of people don't do, they don't think about what it means about them. And so you just create these lists of things that have gone well, these lists of things that you're grateful about. And it's like, yeah, it's great. Done the list. Now what? No, you really got to let it land in you. And the progress that you have made, if you ignore it, it dissolves your confidence. So how do I feel in my body when I look at what's gone well and I look at what that means about me? Usually you feel great. Usually feel more confident. Usually feel more excited to go and do the business, do the relationship stuff, do the things that matter, go and do the fitness. What is acknowledged is strengthened, and what appreciates. Likewise, what is not appreciated or not acknowledged depreciates. So think about that in terms of your fitness. If you don't appreciate your fitness, it will just disappear. It will go. If you do appreciate it, you'll go and work on it, most likely, and it will get better. Same in relationships. When you stop appreciating someone, it disappears. Same with money. Same with your employees. Same with everything. Same with your customers. So acknowledgement and appreciation is so, so powerful. Most men forget how far they've come because they never acknowledge themselves. their family, or their team. Unacknowledged effort erodes confidence. So even if one of your team members has done something, and they don't get acknowledged for it by you as the leader, then you may erode their confidence. So you can't do too much acknowledgement. You don't need to fake it, obviously. It just needs to be real. And if you're new to this, just start small. Unappreciated contribution drains loyalty. This is how confidence is forged through evidence. A king who honors his progress and appreciates his people does not need to posture. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to posture. You don't need to become a tyrant. You don't need to tell people what to do. You just need to acknowledge them. Why does a king acknowledge himself? Well, self-acknowledgement is about naming where you upheld discipline under pressure, where you chose responsibility over comfort, the standards you refused to break when no one was watching. If you do not acknowledge these moments, your system, as in your nervous system, just treats them as irrelevant. So you lose confidence in yourself. And I think, I say this a lot as well, is like what the two things that we need as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is the ability to back ourselves. So we need confidence, and we also need the ability to deal with rejection. And you need to be able to deal with rejection, you need to know who you are, and to back yourself, you need to acknowledge yourself. You need to give yourself a thumbs up, every now and then, at least. I would say more than every now and then, because no one else is going to do it. You're at the top of the triangle. You're at the top of the pyramid. No one else is going, well done, that was great. Maybe you get it occasionally from customers and partners, but you need to do it to you more than anyone else. And I don't see that in most entrepreneurs and business owners. I see the opposite. I still see the self-effacing behavior. And like I said before, that's partly due to the culture, especially in the UK. Why does the king acknowledge others? I've already spoken about it. Because loyalty follows recognition, and what is appreciated appreciates. People do not give their best to those who overlook them. Acknowledgement carries weight with you. Those who challenged you when it mattered, those who stood out when pressure rose. Ask what you can do to make it feel real. Don't do what I say if it doesn't feel real. Just do whatever you know to feel real, and it really helps to know their love language. So this is how I like to do it. You create a record of victory. You have the win, the gain, or the gratitude, and what it says about you and how to make it real. So now this is going to seem so this is an example. My girlfriend looking after the kids while I was away, and she was looking after the kids, and I was really grateful for that. What does that say about me? I really had to rack my brains on that one, but it means that I picked a great partner. Now, how do I feel about that? I feel great about that. I feel proud of myself. I feel proud of her. I feel, grateful. Like none of the feelings that come from saying something like that are negative. But again, in our culture, we don't tend to say things like this because it's a bit weird. It's like standing out from the crowd, giving ourselves a pat on the back. There's nothing wrong with it. How to make it real? Write a note of gratitude to her. Not to say I'm so grateful that I picked you and I'm a great picker of girlfriends, but to say thank you to her. But there's still everything you write. It does say something about you. When the men's camp was a success, we sold out. It means about me is that I am a gatherer of men and community, something that perhaps I thought wasn't good at some point. How to make it real? Send a message out to all the men who attended the camp expressing my gratitude. Acknowledgement. That's how to make it real. That's how I like to make it real. Now, it does help to know, if it's a person, it does help to know their love language. If it's an event, then you might have a different way of making it real. Might celebrate it with someone. So if I've just sold my business or I've just closed a big client, you can make it real by celebrating that with your team. You can make it real by sending the client a note. You can make it real by posting about it somewhere, whatever you need to do, just let it land in your nervous system. So that is the record of victory. That's your first task. It's not a quick task necessarily. You might keep coming back to it. And you'll notice that when we get to the weekly checks, you're going to do this weekly as well, 3 to 5 wins weekly. You just need to keep topping it up. And whenever you're having, if ever you have like a real moment during the quarter where you're just like, "Oh, everything's going terribly wrong for me, and business is up and down," go back and read your record of victory. It just fills you with a bit more confidence. Go and do some acknowledgement for someone else, rather than wallowing in whatever's going wrong. So I hope that was useful, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.